I'm Fee, and today I'm tackling the Booktube Newbie Tag. While my YouTube channel isn't just Booktube, majority of what I've planned at this stage covering my channel is books. Despite having a mixed channel, I thought it was still appropriate to try this tag out for myself. So the first question on this tag asks, why did you start this channel? I started my channel because I want to talk about what I love. I just didn't know what it was that I wanted to talk about at first, since I love a lot of different things. I first considered doing a gamer channel since I've always loved video games. Then I considered doing an anime and manga channel as a way to encourage myself to watch anime on a regular basis like I did in the past. But thinking about it, I just didn't want to lock myself into those types of channels. With gaming, when work gets busy, I don't have the energy to play. With anime and manga, while I love it, I haven't watched anything on a regular basis since 2012, and if I go through a stint of disinterest again in the future, I'll have nothing to say on my channel. The other thing I've always loved is reading, so I considered talking about books on this channel. I've always loved reading, and even if my pace of reading is slower than it used to be, I thought it was something that I could still do. While I've watched a lot of channels about games and films, I haven't watched a whole lot on books. I looked it up to see if it was even viable to talk about books on YouTube, and I found the Booktube community, a community I didn't even know existed till I started my channel. I've been planning a YouTube channel for a long while now. At the end of 2017, I went and counted all my books that I own and have never read, and that number of unread books was far higher than I would have liked. If I read one book every day for the next year, I would still have books in my backlog left over. While I was counting my books, I also counted my video games and DVD collection. Everything I never looked at was far too much for my liking, and it was all things that I wanted to eventually get to. Buying a couple of items here and there built up after several years. This was also to encourage myself to buy less books. It didn't work. After much thinking and research that said that a mixed channel wasn't the most viable option, I decided that I was going to do a mixed channel anyway, where I tackled my entertainment backlog and talking about the completed items from my collection, which doubles as a way to keep myself accountable. If one of the items doesn't work out from what I've chose to do, I can always drop that section next year or separate it. I'll see how everything goes for a year before I decide what direction I'm going to take this channel. I named the channel the Backlog Quest because it's going to be a quest to reduce my backlog. I want to get back to the point that I can buy and read books without feeling guilty because of how much I already have that I've never read. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things that I can bring to Booktube? The first unique thing is that you won't see me on camera. I don't like being on camera and I don't like having my photos taken. I do want to have more videos on my channel eventually, just without me in them. I trialed filming a book tour with my backlog of books when I was still practicing and my hands shake too much. For now, I'll only have stills and photos and I'll revisit videos in the future. I haven't seen any other Booktube channels without a person on camera. If you know any, I'd love to check them out. The second unique thing about my channel is because I plan to reduce my Tubi read pile, I don't plan on having too many books in my hauls. And I don't plan to follow too many newer releases. With not following newer releases, that will hopefully reduce how much I add to my backlog of stuff, because I don't want to add to my backlog at a faster pace than what I can read. If something piques my attention when I'm looking through the bookstores and Kindle, I'll usually end up buying them. This is something I'm trying to reduce doing. I ended up with a backlog as big as I have in the first place from still buying a couple of books here and there while I wasn't reading as often. Number 3, what are you most excited for about this channel? I'm finding everything exciting so far, but what excites me the most is building my confidence, which has already improved a lot since I first started. I started trying to record videos in January of 2018. I started all over every single word and I still have a long way to go. At the moment, I found that I've been talking too fast, so I've been working on slowing my pace down while still sounding confident. As soon as I slow my pace down at the moment, I don't sound as confident, or that's my opinion anyway. Number 4, why do you love reading? With fiction, I love stories and how I can get drawn into the world. I sometimes get drawn in enough that it feels like I'm actually there. With non-fiction, I love learning new things from books. I love finding out other people's experiences and how they live their own lives. Question number 5, what series got you into reading? I don't have a book or series that got me into reading. I just loved books as far back as I can remember. I grew up around lots and lots of books, and there are big readers on both sides of the family. My grandfather, who passed away before I was born, collected books, and my mum had part of his collection. I always wanted my own book collection just like his. I wanted a library in my house, and to have a library in your house means reading the books in it, not just collecting them for the sake of having a lot of books. Question number 6. What What question would you ask your favourite booktuber? My question is, can we hang out and talk about books in person? Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? What I'm finding the hardest is finding time and energy to record and edit around work. I don't have a lot of energy after work and the weekends aren't always free, so it's been challenging getting videos together. Question number 8. When did you start reading? I've always loved reading. When I was young, one of my parents would read to me every night, and I loved having stories read to me. I couldn't read till I was about 10 due to learning problems I've had, or still have, related to English, which really frustrated me because I wanted to read all the books and write my own stories, and it was a struggle to learn to read, it was a struggle to learn to write, and it was a struggle to stay caught up with my own age group. And I still struggle with English to this day. When I could finally read myself, I would read every night and often had my mum come in and take my books off me and turn off the lights because I would lose track of time and not sleep. Reading daily unfortunately stopped when I started work. Question number 9. Where do you read? I feel like I read everywhere. I used to do my most reading during travel to school on the school bus and on the train when I lived in the city. I started reading my first ebooks and PDA when I was living in the city, so I didn't have to take as much with me when I was out studying or at work. I no longer live in the city and there's no public transport where I now live, so I have to drive everywhere. So during my travels, I listen to audiobooks in the car, so I still have a form of reading while I'm traveling, even if it's not my preferred form of reading. And I love listening to the audiobooks when I'm cleaning as well, so when I can't physically read a book, I am listening to a book. Question 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I like reading a little bit of everything. I mostly read young adult fantasy and young adult science fiction. But I'll also read classics, adult fiction, autobiographies, non-fiction, and just whatever catches my interest no matter what genre it is. Most of what I read is young adult, and the young adult books just catch my interest more often than books in other genres. So that's the tag finished. If there's any other interesting tags that you could think of that I should try, let me know. I got a bit overwhelmed when I was looking them up and I didn't know which one or if any that I should do next. See you all next time.